You're not gonna let me shoot a video, aren't you? The brand new release of Tom Ford Black Lacquer video coming right up. Stay tuned. What is going on, guys, and welcome again to another video. Tom Ford came out with a brand new release. And let me tell you what I think of it. Let me just bring my sample that I just got to see if I like it to invest for a full bottle or not. And let me just refresh my memory with the opening one more time. The opening, as a matter of fact, it's very bold and it's just a little bit weird. It's not for everybody. Even for me, and I love Tom Ford and I love weird fragrances and I love niche different fragrances, I was like, okay, this is a little different, a little weird, and I don't know if I like it that much. And that was my very first impressions, and I've been having this for the longest time. Look how much I've worn of it so far. But nowadays I kind of like got used to it. I kind of like it in a way. Let me just put it that way. From something that I never smelled before, it was like weird for me, to something that I got acquainted and I got used to in a way. And with time you kind of like it. So that is how I feel with the opening of Black Lacquer or Black Liqueur. It's the inky vinyl note for me. This fragrance got a lot of fantasy notes, like the inky notes. They got like a vinyl records note. It's got a lot of frankincense, and I smell the frankincense throughout the whole duration of this fragrance. So besides the vinyl inky note, I think the frankincense comes out third. There's a big dose of rum here as well, which is beautiful, but it doesn't come across very boozy. So the rum or the boozy nuances, it just gives it more of a secondary role. So if you are looking for a boozy scent through and through, this is probably not it for you. It's very extremely woodsy with the ebony woods, which gives it a lot of like old school, oaky smelling, old library with books type of smell. Something I personally appreciate, but it's just bold in your face. And the opening too is not listed. It just gives out a very spicy effect like cardamom. Yeah, it smells a lot like cardamom to me. I know it's not listed, but I smell like a lot of cardamom, especially in the opening. So imagine yourself in a very old antique library full of books, old dusty books, burning churchy frankincense all over the place. That includes vinyl records too, so it smells smoky, plasticky, vinyl-y in a way. It is very accurate with the vinyl smell. It just smells like a smoky, burnt plasticky, inky smell. I know that sounds weird and it's not pleasant, but as a matter of fact, it is actually pleasant. Especially the more you get used to it, it just gets addictive. It's just something that you just like keep on smelling. In the opening too, there's a slightly fruity nuance from the peach. The peach here is not prominent at all. It's just basically in the background, and it's very slightly too. But it's definitely, it gives out a slightly peachy effect. Don't shy away from the peach note here. It's very light again, and it also comes across very masculine. I know peach is a very feminine note in feminine fragrances, but it doesn't come across as feminine here. The total opposite. This fragrance, it's very bold, very manly, like old school, black tie, manly, rugged type of a smell. This is definitely an acquired taste. This is not something that would get you attention. This is definitely risky, but at the same time, it smells expensive. You're just gonna have to dress up the part for this one. So the more you dress up for this one, the better this one actually will smell to other people. Yeah, I see this one as a black tie, or like going out for like really expensive black tie tuxedo events type of thing. When it comes to the performance, again, I told you that I've been having this for 8 hours and so far, and it's still actually happening on my skin. When I move my arms or when I move anyway, I can still smell it faintly. So it's still prominent, thick on my skin. It's not dying by any mean, and I'm talking 8 hours in. So in terms of the longevity is amazing. In terms of the projection though, I've worn this scent when I first got it during daytime when it was like really hot outside. I was just curious to try this fragrance out. I was actually, as a matter of fact, walking my dog one day when I received this a little sample right here, and I just put it on just to actually see what are we dealing with. And that day was probably like 100 degrees outside or something. I choked myself out in my car. In the scorching summer heat, it was actually pushing out and it was pretty strong. So I thought it was like really pushing out very strongly the first day I had it on. It was actually like beast mode, very strong everywhere. But then when I wore it at night and I started wearing it when it's just cooler outside, I had a different experience. It was actually closer to the skin. It's got like a nice bubble around you. It wasn't like really pushing out big of my skin. But it lasted, and it lasts for a long time. So the colder it is outside, the closer to the skin this fragrance actually gets. But at the same time, because it's just very thick, it just leaves a really nice scent trail everywhere you move. So this one, it's actually got a very nice sillage. Sometimes you just don't want to choke people out, especially with a fragrance with that thickness, and you just wanted people to pick on it when you move slightly. That's actually a good thing. I don't find this as a downfall for this fragrance at all. And the best part about this fragrance is not the opening at all, because the opening, as a matter of fact, it's not very pleasant, again, even for me at first. But when it dries down, it just becomes very addictive. There's a peony flower note in here, which is beautiful. The elemi note here just gives it a little bit of a resiny sweetness too, with the rum that kind of like flourishes when this fragrance dries down, and it doesn't become as vinyl-y or as inky as the opening. It just gets sweeter and it just gets very addictively, very pleasant. So the best part about this fragrance is definitely the dry down. And the good thing about it is that the dry down lasts for a long time. So if you don't like the first half an hour, 45 minutes of this bold opening, get used to it to transition little by little into something boozy, sweet, a little floral, but still woodsy and scents-y, but not as in your face, bold, churchy and scents-y like the opening. When it comes to the compliment factor, as a matter of fact, I got negative feedback from people, and I got also compliments from the same people when this fragrance dried down. Some people told me this fragrance smells very bad in the air. But when they smell it up close, they actually like it. They told me it smells way better from a close range. Again, people smell it on me. I haven't smelled it on anybody else. I'm just telling you the feedbacks I got from people. Some people also were like, oof, whatever you had on, it's very strong and it's not pleasant, it's smoky. I got that negative feedback too when it was really hot outside. And actually the same people after this fragrance dried down at the same exact day wearing, we can still pick up on your fragrance and I kind of like it now. So it just gets better with time. So it got me compliments, I assure you that, but it also got me some negative feedback from the opening. Is there anything else that this fragrance reminds me of? It reminds me of, as a matter of fact, with a mashup with a couple of fragrances. In the opening, it just reminds me of Amber Absolute without the amber. It is just the incense, dude. The frankincense here is just very bold, very reminiscent to Amber Absolute. Again, without the sweetness from the amber. So if you're familiar with Amber Absolute, you're just gonna pick up a lot of that frankincense from Amber Absolute. It would also remind you of Ebene Fumé, just because of that oaky, woodsy, bold, antique library smell that they both have. And in the dry down, just because of that boozy nuances, it reminds me a little bit of tobacco oud. Again, it's not a copy of all these three fragrances at all. I just pick up some different notes from all these fragrances in this fragrance right here. That's what I said, it's kind of like a mashup between a couple of Tom Ford fragrances. versatility of this fragrance, it's very limited. So versatility is pretty bad. I actually don't find myself wearing this one unless I'm dressing up. I'm just going somewhere very expensive. It's kind of like a showing offy type of a scent. Something if you just want to smell expensive and you just want to smell manly and you don't give an F. For me personally, I like this type of smells. I'd wear them when I'm going out at night for dinner or something. It just makes me feel like I have an extra couple of bucks in my bank. But again, for like over 400 something dollars for a 50 ml, that is expensive just to drop on something that you're just gonna wear occasionally. But I would encourage you to wait until this one hits discounter and just scoop it discounted. That's what I'm gonna do because I wanted to have this one in my collection. I personally love it. But again, this is something you're just gonna have to try before you buy because it's not for everybody. It's just something very risky, especially that it is that expensive. So this is pretty much it, guys. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think of Black Lacquer by Tom Ford? Have you tried it yet? Would you purchase a bottle for 400 something dollars? I'm just curious. I would love to know in the comment section down below. Also, please show me some love by liking this video, clicking that subscribe button, and the notification bell right next to it, and see you guys next time. Peace.